that guy in your gym class that you can't beat no matter what you do is Tom Brady. And we're going to be talking about the AFC East today. Talking about the Patriots. This is one of those teams, like I said, when their backs are against the wall, everybody likes to do the same thing. They like to count them out. And I think that was the first thing that we did last year when they accumulated more than 3 losses in the season. They went 11-5, and everyone was saying, "Oh, Kansas City, New Orleans, even the Eagles to an extent." We were all saying that that this team is not going to do this. Patriots are a team that you can never count out ever, and I think that that's something we've learned every year. Whether it was the Super Bowl against Atlanta last year's season, it doesn't matter what it is. They'll be in the mix, and they'll be one of the Super Bowl contender teams this year. Tom Brady is getting older, but his body won't really show it. He's not the best athlete, and I think we all know that. He's going to be 42, but he's not slowing down in the slightest. He's got one of the best, if not the best, coaches, and a system that has been set to win for so many years with Bill Belichick. Their running backs, you know what it is. Sony Michel is slowly becoming one of the, I don't want to say NFL's elite, but he fits into their system very well, and I think that he was a great running back last year. He had, if I'm correct, 819 yards, something around those lines. No, actually, you know what? I think it may have been like 900 plus, but he was pushing the 1,000-yard marker, and he was very good for the Patriots last year. And I think that he might want to get a little bit more involved, if that makes any sense, and he'll be a very prominent role in this New England offense. One of the things that stings for them is there's no more Gronk, but this team has fared well without him. Times where he was hurt, he was one of those players where I think we all were kind of shocked but not surprised that he retired so young. And Gronk announced his retirement last year, and Patriots are going to be rolling with 2 different tight ends. They're looking at Benjamin Watson and Austin Seferian-Jenkins to fill that role, perhaps. But I don't think Gronk's retired. I don't know. I mean, I just think, I don't know, to me he's one of those players where I feel like he's going to get the itch to come back and play, and he's going to do it. Different from Andrew Luck, where I think he might actually be done. Like I said, I don't see Gronk being done. He might not even play at all this year. Yes, in theory he's retired, but I see him coming back. I don't know what it is about it. He by no means financially needs to, like most NFL players that retire, but I don't think he's done. But they're going to be trying to roll out 2 different guys on their tight ends set, and the receivers too. Philip Dorsett is going to get a chance at receiver as well, and Julian Edelman has been quietly underrated as, to me, one of the more elite wide receivers in the NFL. He's been very underrated to me, and he's going to be the go-to guy for Tom Brady, especially with the fact that Gronk is not, he's retired for the team, and Edelman's going to get even more reps. But Edelman has usually shows up and produces. He's especially in the playoffs. I think we see this guy do a lot of crazy things, especially in the Super Bowl. So their receiving core is got some question marks, but Tom Brady is going to make average look good because he's Tom Brady and that's what he does. Their offensive line is pretty solid, and even if it wasn't, who really cares? Tom Brady doesn't need more than a millisecond to throw the ball, and that's pretty much that. The defensive line, they're getting Michael Bennett. They do have Lawrence Guy already, so Michael Bennett should be an upgrade on that defensive line. And their linebackers, they've had 2 guys that have been on this team for, I don't know how long exactly they've been on the team for, but I do have Donta Hightower and Kyle Van Noy, who had 90 tackles last season. And their linebacking core has been very good for New England, and I think that those 2 guys work well together. To my opinion, their secondary, they have one of the strongest secondaries in football. They have Stephon Gilmore, who is a very good corner that they have on their team. And they also do have Jason McCourty, but he's going to be pressured by John Jones, who's another guy that they're going to be giving a shot to. So, I ran through this New England team a little bit, but I feel like it's just self-explanatory to an extent. This team is just very, very good, and Belichick and Brady have a system that's set to win every year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this team, especially in the playoffs, because they are going to win this division, because there's really, besides even the Jets, who still are so far away from where the Patriots are, there's really no other competition in this division for the Patriots. And it's been a lopsided division for many years, so I do expect the Patriots to take this one rather easily. Now, the Buffalo Bills are a team that has some talent, but I feel like they've been so awful for years, despite making the playoffs in 2017. I believe that was a game where they did not score much and they lost to Jacksonville. Josh Allen was ranked last in passing, so but I think he showed progress slightly through last year. Allen has been known to be one of those quarterbacks that takes a little bit longer to release the ball, especially behind an offensive line that is pretty bad for Buffalo. So especially when rookie quarterbacks come into a bad offensive line, that's not the friendly NFL welcome that they like. So Josh Allen's going to need set improvement, but I think the Bills are kind of set on him as their quarterback. LaShawn McCoy was known for a while to be one of the better, if not one of the best running backs in the league. He's turning 30 this year, but he's coming off one of his worst seasons in the NFL. Signed veteran Frank Gore, who's been bouncing around one-year contracts as he nears toward the end of his career. They signed Frank Gore, and they also are going to have T.J. Yeldon, so they're hoping for a bounce-back season from LaShawn McCoy, but if they do not get that from him, they have two reasonably solid guys to run to. Their receivers they have some new names in the mix. They do have John Brown and Cole Beasley as well. Free agency, they signed Zay Jones and Robert Foster. Robert Foster is going to be coming for that final spot on the receiving corps. So Josh Allen has a little bit of have some guys to throw to, but there some of the names they aren't too quite familiar with. Their defensive line, Kyle Williams. Williams, after 13 years, made the decision to retire from the NFL, and that's a big blow to their defensive line because he was a quality guy that they had for a while. They did draft Ed Oliver, and they are known to have Jerry Hughes, who was one of the best pass rushers on. He has some question marks, and that might be a little bit of a weaker spot on the team. Their linebackers, they have Trim and Edwards, who is a younger player, but they're expecting a lot from him. He did have 121 tackles last year, and they have Lorenzo Alexander as well, who have put up some numbers for the Bills last year. Reasonably solid. And their secondary, they do have Tre'Davious White, as E.J. Gaines is coming back. There are some Micah Hyde, and there are some new different names in the secondary for Buffalo. Like I said, I kind of went through this team fast too as well, just for the main sole factor that, I feel like this is not a team that has a large talking point around them. In the AFC East, there's a lot of teams that there really isn't much to talk about. So we kind of just, went through that a little bit faster. Miami Dolphins, this team was kind of, the system for them changed a lot this year, I felt like. Ryan Tannehill, who was gifted to us Titans fans, very much so right here. He was gifted to us Titans fans, and unfortunately, he's probably going to be our starter because based on how Mariota plays, he's probably going to end up getting hurt like he usually does. So that means that Teddy Bridgewater, who is coming along, is going to compete with Fitzpatrick for that quarterback spot since Ryan Tannehill no longer resides on the team. The team did a lot of quarterback activity last year. They signed Fitzpatrick. They traded Josh Rosen. And Fitzpatrick is going to be in here battling with Bridgewater. Like I said, I think Fitzpatrick is probably going to get the quarterback position. And we'll see if he can light it up like he was for Tampa Bay in the beginning of last year. The running back had a two running back split between Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake was the lead running back last year. Their running backs, Gore is going to be coming along. Frank Gore is going to be coming along to Miami, and he's going to split carries with Kenyon Drake, who was for the Miami Dolphins last year, and I think they're going to try to give him maybe some more carries, and we'll kind of see where that goes. Their old line was god-awful last year. They would give up sacks, and sacks. So it'd be interesting to see if the Dolphins play the Rams. I don't think Aaron Donald would have anything less than 5 sacks. They gave up a lot of sacks last year, and their O-line that's something that they really need to work on. And something they did at the wide receiving position that I didn't really understand. They cut Amendola, who was the past 2 seasons, so I don't really understand that too much. Their defensive line, they did draft Christian Wilkins. He's a favorite to them to be very energetic and very enthusiastic. So he's going to attempt to improve that. Charles Harris is going to need a big improvement from last year to this year to help boost his defensive line, but we'll see what we get out of Christian Wilkins. And he might be able to bolster that Miami defensive line. Kiko Alonso was their lead running back. He had 125 tackles last year for the Miami Dolphins. You got McMillan, Jerome Baker, and those were solid first-year starters for the linebacking crew in Miami this past season. You also have they have one of the better secondaries in football. Xavier Howard made the Pro Bowl. He had 7 interceptions last year. Rashad Jones and Minkah Fitzpatrick Eric Rowe is coming on to the secondary team from the New England Patriots, so we're going to expect to see a very a solid secondary for the Miami Dolphins, and I think that that's one of stronger their stronger categories on this team is the secondary. But I'm not expecting too much from the Dolphins this year, especially at quarterback. I don't really know if Fitzpatrick can work that magic that he had the whole season, and Teddy Bridgewater is. I think he's one injury away from retirement, honestly. The guys had some bad injuries, but I do think Teddy Bridgewater was a solid quarterback when he was on the Vikings, but I just think that this team is a little bit shambles. They have certain things, and they have a lot of new pieces that they're working on this year. Not least, we actually flew through this video. We're going to be talking about the New York Jets, and this is a team that will probably finish second in the division, and if they produced length, quality, and quantity, they could be a wild card team. But I just think that I don't know if the Jets are quite there to that playoff mark, just based on the sole fact that whoever doesn't win the AFC North, to me, is going to get a wild card spot, and whoever doesn't win the AFC West is going to get a wild card spot. That's just how I see it. Adam Gase is coming on as a first-year coach for the New York Jets, and he's a little bit of a question mark. You know, he had some problems with the Dolphins. Some players didn't like him. So we'll see how he fits with the New York Jets mold, but I'm not really sure what we can expect from him. They're hoping that Sam Darnold grows. Sam Darnold was decent last year, and I think that if he gets any better and the team continues to work on their chemistry, that he'll be a good quarterback. I do think Sam Darnold is the answer for the New York Jets, and I think that they chose right when they chose Sam Darnold. Trevor Siemian is going to be their backup in the event that anything happens to Darnold or he just completely folds over and dies in his sophomore season, which I don't see happening because I think the team has gotten slightly better. And but like I said, Trevor Siemian is a mediocre quarterback, and in the event that they don't have Sam Darnold, maybe he'll be able to get them some wins, but it's kind of hard to say. Le'Veon Bell is finally getting paid. He's one of the best running backs in the league, maybe the best running back in the league when he plays. He finally got his money after holding out with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he's going to be coming along to work with the New York Jets. They have Elijah McGuire as a backup running back. And if Le'Veon Bell is half as good as he was, this is going to completely bolster the running back. And the Jets are going to have a solidly decent offense the upcoming season. But we're going to see what we get from Bell. They had a solid offensive line last year, to my knowledge. So you got a good line, you got one of the best running backs, and you have what we're going to get to is the receiving core. They have three guys. They have Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson, and drafted a tight end in the 4th round in Chris Herndon, and they're going to be expecting him to come through as a quality tight end for the Jets. So you got a good offensive line, you got a solid quarterback, you got good receivers who have been with the team, and you have a great running back. I think that the Jets offense has potential to have a couple 40-plus point games this year if everything falls into play. But like I said, we're gonna take that the way we see it. The Jets are going to improve dramatically. They had Henry Anderson and Leonard Williams were great as the defensive line for the New York Jets, and they're drafting Quinnen Williams. I want to say they had the 3rd pick in the NFL draft, and this is going to be very important for the New York Jets because they have a good defensive line. Their linebacker position got a huge boost. C.J. Mosley's coming along from the Baltimore Ravens. They have Avery Williamson there already and Jordan Jenkins. So far this team's looking like they bolstered their defense. Their offense was good already, and their secondary they have Trumaine Johnson, Dale Roberts, Brian Pohl, Jamal Adams. Their secondary is probably maybe not as good as the defensive line and the linebacker position, but their secondary did bolster as well, or are going to need a little bit more from. So I think the Jets I think personally in the offseason, the Jets made the most moves out of almost any team. They dramatically improved their team, and they're going to be a fun team to watch, I think, in this upcoming season. I don't know if they're going to be able to take down the system and the throne that is the New England Patriots, because I don't see that happening. But the Jets, I would not be shocked if everyone stayed healthy and stayed aboard that they somehow squeezed a wild card spot. I just think the AFC wild card spots are going to be very tough because you figure Kansas City and LA, one of those teams has to lose the division and make a playoff spot. And Pittsburgh and Cleveland, one of those teams has to lose the division and probably get a wild card spot. So, there's going to be a lot of things that factor into that, but I do expect the Patriots to win this division again. This was maybe not one of my more exciting videos. I think that there was, I just think the AFC East is kind of a little bit of a boring division to review. We're going to get definitely exciting in the next video, the AFC North. And then we have the South, which is completely revamped over the last 48 hours. Or not 48, over the last 4 or 5 days, the AFC South completely revamped. And then the AFC West, which is the hardest division to win in football. So, thank you for watching, and Patriots it is.